So earlier this year, I finally got the Chase Sapphire Reserve credit card to add to my collection of multiple credit cards that I have right now in my rotation, as well as adding it as part of my strategy this year to get most of the premium travel rewards credit cards, not only to maximize on the benefits, but also to be able to give you guys these sort of reviews, to do the direct comparisons with the other cards that exist in the space, including the AMEX Platinum and the Venture X. Honestly, I've been pretty happy with the Capital One products and AMEX products that I've had over the years, which I believed at the time had offered the maximum benefits possible for travel rewards and different point bonuses and mile bonuses in terms of getting the best value possible out of using a travel rewards credit card. However, upon further research and analysis, it would seem that the Chase Sapphire Reserve and Chase's Sapphire products in general are great offerings in terms of the travel credit card space. And I'm pretty excited to make this video for you guys because it actually has a lot of hidden benefits that I would say are not commonly advertised, and some of them that actually outshine what's offered by AMEX and Capital One. I want to say right off the bat that if you're thinking about getting a Chase Sapphire Reserve or an AMEX Platinum or a Venture X and you can't decide which one to get, I would consider the fact that the AMEX Platinum is such a popular credit card nowadays, and every other video about credit cards on YouTube has to do with the AMEX Platinum. And in my personal opinion, when you're on top of the game, that's when you get complacent. I'm not saying that AMEX is going to get complacent or that's what happens whenever you're on top, but that's when you have the opportunity to get complacent because you're already the best. And AMEX has been regarded, generally speaking, as the most prestigious, and people talk about, oh, you should get the AMEX Platinum because it's a great card, which it is. But I think the opportunity there, especially for cards like the Chase Sapphire Reserve and the Sapphire products, are that when you're number two or you're not on top, you're gonna offer the best service, you're gonna work your ass off and make sure that you're giving your clients your best so that you can get back to that number one spot. That's something that I've found, especially with researching with the different Chase products, is that Chase is consistently adding new benefits to their cards to stay competitive with the other travel credit cards in that space. Now, for today's video, I want to talk about the annual fee as well as how to offset the annual fee with the benefits of the Chase Sapphire Reserve that it offers. I then want to spend a little bit of time talking about the ultimate rewards platform and how Chase points might be the most valuable credit card currency available right now. Then I want to get into how the Chase Sapphire Reserve actually works in the Chase Trifecta, if that's something that you're interested in. And then finally do a quick comparison of the other credit cards you might be considering in that space, which might include the Chase Sapphire Preferred, as well as the AMEX Platinum card. Now, as with most other credit cards in this space, the annual fee for the Chase Sapphire Reserve is pretty high at $550 a year. With SCRA or MLA benefits, you get the annual fee reserved while you're on active duty or if you served on active duty before applying for the card. Now, of course, to do a full review of the Chase Sapphire Reserve, I want to detail all of the benefits that are offered by the Chase Sapphire Reserve so you're not missing out on any of them when considering your card options. That being said, to make this as useful as possible for you guys, I do want to focus on some of the benefits that set the CSR apart from the Platinum and the Venture X. So once we're on the Chase Ultimate Rewards homepage, what we want to do is click on this Rewards Details drop down and then click on Card Benefits here. This is where you can see all the benefits that are offered with the Chase Sapphire Reserve. Now, like I said, I want to focus on the benefits that really set this card apart, not so much the benefits that are usually included with paying $500 in annual fee for a travel rewards credit card. So yes, 10x points on hotels, 5x on flights, and 3x on travel and dining is great, but what we want to first start on is actually this one, which is the $300 annual travel credit that you get with having the Chase Sapphire Reserve specifically. Now, if I click on Learn More, here we'll see that you get $300 in statement credits as reimbursement for travel purchases every single year with this card. Now, I want to take a second to make sure that you understand how good of a benefit that this is, okay? So with the AMEX Platinum and the Venture X, I know I keep doing this comparison, but I think it's most valuable to understand how good this card is in comparison to the other offerings in this space. You can basically get the $300 travel credit by charging the air that you're breathing on your walk to buy a bagel in New York City. I don't know why that's the specific example that I was thinking of, but basically anything that is even remotely travel related, which includes parking tickets, which includes train tickets, it includes anything with an airline, so incidentals, Wi-Fi, booking flights, booking hotels. I'm talking about literally anything travel related. If you go on the Chase Sapphire Reserve forum on Facebook or on Reddit or anything else, you'll see how easy it is to use your Chase $300 of annual travel credit. And basically, if you think you haven't used it yet, or you want to use your $300 for something, you've probably already used a few dollars of it because they probably considered something that you've already spent money on as a travel expense. Now, if we take a quick step back and remember that the annual fee for this card is $550, if we consider that $300 of this annual fee is covered by this annual travel credit as long as you travel anywhere, and I'm talking about anywhere, you will probably get good value out of this card. And considering that, it's only $250 a year, not including anything else in this video that we're going to talk about. The next benefit I want to touch on that really sets this card apart is this 50% more value in travel rewards by utilizing the Ultimate Rewards platform. This is directly tied into how valuable Chase Ultimate Rewards points are, and let me explain why. So essentially, when you do the valuation of credit cards, rewards, points, or miles currencies, what you're looking at is how far you can take those points in terms of dollar value. This means how much the points or miles are worth both on the native platform of that credit card issuer, for Chase being Chase Ultimate Rewards, as well as how much those points are worth considering the transfer partners of that particular credit card issuer. Now, Chase has 10 different airline transfer partners that they offer, as well as 3 hotel partners that they offer, all of which are transferred at a 1-to-1 ratio that give you great value depending on what type of flights you book or hotels you book. But as I talked about in the last video that I made about domestic flights in the United States using Chase, the Ultimate Rewards platform is by far and away the best travel platform among Chase, AMEX, and Capital One. The reason for this is that if you have the Chase Sapphire Reserve, as explained here with the 50% more value, what that means is if you have 100 Chase points, it's actually going to be worth 150 points on their travel portal. To show you what I mean, if we go to Chase's website and we go to the travel page, we can click here on flights to have a look at a flight option that we want to book through Chase Travel. Now, it already tells us here at the top our 60,000 points are worth roughly $1,000, which shows us that the 33% difference means that our 67,000 points are worth 50% more than what the actual point value is, making them worth 1.5 cents per point. Now, let's say we want to book a flight from JFK to LAX, as I like to do in my videos talking about credit card currencies, on some random date, the day after my birthday, let's say, and click on search flights. Just want to show you guys in practice how this works. So if we see this flight here on Delta Airlines from JFK to Ontario, it's the same here for JFK to LAX. It's $158 for this basic economy ticket. Now, naturally, if you had a 1 cent per point value, $158 would be 15,800 points, but instead, it's only 10,480 points. So, if it's not clear already, the 50% more value that you get with the Chase Sapphire Reserve makes it an extremely valuable credit card to have because of the point value bump that you get with all of your Chase Ultimate Rewards. I want to go into more depth about this later as well, because what this means is that any Ultimate Rewards that you're accruing, whether it's across your Chase Freedom Flex or Freedom Unlimited, allow you to transfer them over to Ultimate Rewards with the Chase Sapphire Reserve, maxing it out at 1.5 cents per point of value. Now, the last couple things I want to mention that really set the CSR apart in terms of its benefits versus the other travel credit cards in the space are, first off, the Chase lounges that are available today. As we touched on at the beginning of this video, the AMEX lounges are at their absolute maximum capacity that they've ever been because everybody and their mother has an AMEX Platinum. On the contrary, Chase lounges are not half as busy, and I've only heard good things about people's experiences traveling through a Chase lounge, being able to experience it, trying some of the food, and actually being able to enjoy a relaxing, calm, peaceful time that I wouldn't say most people can say about their last AMEX Platinum Centurion lounge experience. Once again, this goes back to Chase consistently adding new benefits to stay competitive, and hopefully Chase continues to add new lounges to its collection that are of the same caliber, if not better. The other quick thing I want to mention is that the Priority Pass membership that you get with the Chase Sapphire Reserve is actually different than what you get with the Platinum or the Venture X. That being the food and beverage credits that you actually get with having this Priority Pass membership through the Chase Sapphire Reserve at different airports in the United States and worldwide that offer you credits for dining at that particular restaurant. This could be anything from $20 to $25, which can come in really handy, especially when you're traveling to an airport where a sandwich or a bagel is going to be 20 to 25 bucks, and you really do not want to be spending $20 for a bagel that is not going to cure cancer. Now, I just wanted to highlight those specific benefits because those are things that I personally thought stood out for the Chase Sapphire Reserve and make it a lot different from the other premium travel rewards credit cards. But I do want to go into a detailed list of the benefits that the Chase Sapphire Reserve offered. So real quick, let's have a look at their website and go through the benefits that this card offers today. So if we go back to the benefits page of the Ultimate Rewards website, we'll see that we get 10x points per dollar spent on Chase dining through purchases on Ultimate Rewards. This is pretty great, especially if you're in a major city in the US, as Chase Ultimate Rewards definitely favors those larger cities and has dining options that are going to give you that 10x back. You also get 10x points per dollar spent on hotel stays and car rentals specifically through Ultimate Rewards. Of course, the caveat there is that it has to be booked through Ultimate Rewards and not directly with that hotel or Avis or any other rental car agency. But again, 10x points is hard to beat, and that is the valuation that you get in terms of the earning capacity with your Chase Sapphire Reserve. You then also get 5x points per dollar spent on air travel booked through Ultimate Rewards. Once again, this is specifically through Chase Ultimate Rewards or Chase Travel, not directly with that airline. But with how much Chase Ultimate Rewards points are actually worth, 5x back is pretty damn good. The next best earning capacity that you get is the 3x points per dollar on everything travel and dining related that's not booked specifically through Chase. Now this is pretty big because 3x points on things that are not booked specifically through Chase, so that means if you take your credit card and go buy anything at a restaurant or takeout, or if you go book a flight or hotel or rental car with your Chase Sapphire Reserve, you still get 3x back, which coupled with a 1.5 cent per point value, at minimum, you're getting a much higher valuation of that earning capacity than just a basic 3x for a simple cashback rewards credit card. Now, Chase also has a partnership with Lyft, and so you of course get this 10x points per $1 spent on Lyft for the duration of that period. Before we move on to the rest of the benefits of the Chase Sapphire Reserve, I don't know why you guys didn't stop me and tell me I didn't talk about this yet, but we didn't mention the sign-up bonus for the Chase Sapphire Reserve, which is currently 60,000 points at this time. Now, the 60,000 points that you get for spending $4,000 in the first 3 months of having your Chase Sapphire Reserve might not seem like a lot compared to the AMEX Platinum, especially with the 80,000 point sign-up bonus or even the 150,000 point sign-up bonus. But once again, we have to remember that Chase Ultimate Rewards are the highest value currency of any of the credit card issuers. And so at an absolute minimum of a 1.5 cent per point valuation, 60,000 Ultimate Rewards points is effectively 90,000 points when booked through Ultimate Rewards or transferred to transfer partners, which you would know about if you were watching my videos, which in later videos, we're gonna talk about how to utilize your Chase Ultimate Rewards for much more than a 1.5 cent per point valuation when transferring them over to partner airlines and hotels. Now, of course, if you don't already have the Chase Sapphire Reserve, my referral link is in the description box below if you wanna use that. It's the same 60,000 points that you would get if you Google the link for the sign up of the Chase Sapphire Reserve. As we talked about, you get the complimentary Priority Pass Select membership that is different from the one that you get with the Platinum card. You also get access to Chase's Sapphire Lounges that are now in certain airports and are pretty damn good and also much less crowded. You also have the 3 hotel and 10 airline transfer partners of Chase that allow you to utilize your points for much higher than a 1.5 cent per point valuation by transferring those points over to those partners. A quick example of what I mean by getting insane value out of transferring your Chase Ultimate Rewards points to these transfer partners is ANA flights with Virgin Atlantic. What you can do is transfer your Chase points over to Virgin Atlantic, which actually has a 30% bump right now, which is pretty insane as well, which gives you the opportunity to book a first class ticket for just 110,000 or 120,000 miles, again, round trip from the United States to Japan. That at a 1 cent per point valuation of, let's say, 60,000 points for one way, or 120,000 points or miles for a round trip ticket, should be equivalent to about $1,200, maybe $1,500 if you include fees, surcharges, all this other stuff. That doesn't come anywhere close to the cash price, which is way more than $1,500 for this flight to Japan. The Virgin Atlantic transfer from Ultimate Rewards to use those points on ANA to Japan is just one of many, many use cases that allows you to utilize your Ultimate Rewards points for insanely good value, especially traveling internationally. But I'm gonna save that for another video because there's so many examples I can talk about. They're gonna give you some great, great value when transferring your Chase points. For the rest of the benefits here, you also get TSA PreCheck, of course, which also includes the Global Entry or Nexus credit, whichever one you wanna choose, worth up to $100. As is standard with the rest of the premium travel credit cards, you also get trip delay reimbursement, trip cancellation interruption insurance, and then because of their partnership with Lyft, you get the Pink All Access free membership for 2 years, which you have to activate by the end of next year. Now, by this point in the video, I've already probably convinced you to get the Chase Sapphire Reserve because I've talked about it like it's the best thing ever. But if I haven't talked about enough good things already, the complimentary credit cards to the Chase Sapphire Reserve, which are the other credit cards in the Chase Trifecta, are what can make this an even better value across all spending categories. And let me explain what I mean. So let's say you have the Chase Freedom Flex, which is earning 5x in a certain category, or even the Chase Freedom Unlimited, which earns an unlimited 1.5% cash back on absolutely anything. As I mentioned earlier, you can move your rewards from the Chase Freedom Flex or the Chase Freedom Unlimited over to the Chase Sapphire Reserve, then translating the value of those points from those other cards that have only a 1 cent per point valuation up to the 1.5 cent per point valuation of the Chase Sapphire Reserve at a minimum. Now across all spending categories, whether it's on your Flex or your Unlimited, let's say specifically on your Unlimited, you get up to 2.5% of an awards earning rate instead of the simple 1.5% cash back that you'd otherwise have to use just as statement credits on that card itself. Now I think this is a good transition into comparing the Chase Sapphire Preferred and the Chase Sapphire Reserve, because the Chase Sapphire Preferred only has a 1.25 cent per point maximum cent per point value when utilizing them on Chase Ultimate Rewards. When we're comparing the Chase Sapphire Preferred and the Chase Sapphire Reserve, there's a number number of things to consider, but the first one's probably going to be the annual fee. Most people probably think that the Chase Sapphire Preferred and the Chase Sapphire Reserve are just the same thing, except that the card is, not as dark of a blue color for the Chase Sapphire Preferred, and you only have to pay $95 a year versus $550 a year. Now, while I will say if you don't travel as much, or if you're not planning to use all the benefits and perks out of the Chase Sapphire Reserve, the Preferred can be a great option as well because it is a lot less expensive and still has a decent earning capacity that you can then use to transfer those ultimate rewards over to those partner airlines that are once again going to be the same transfer partners that you have on the Chase Sapphire Reserve. The key difference, in my opinion, is the 1.5 cent per point value that you get when utilizing your Chase points on the platform of ultimate rewards. I've talked about this in other videos, but I value simplicity a lot, and honestly, utilizing a credit card's native platform to book flights, I think is just really easy because you don't have to transfer points, wait for the points to transfer or look for an award flight availability. You can literally just book the points for really good value if they are cheaper. And the simple matter of fact is that if you're booking points at 50% more value through Ultimate Rewards by having the Chase Sapphire Reserve, what that means is that effectively with no extra work and no extra steps necessary, you're just getting cheaper flights by booking them through Ultimate Rewards. And then if you consider the $300 travel credit that you get with the Chase Sapphire Reserve, that's something that's not offered with the Chase Sapphire Preferred, although you do get a $50 annual credit on hotel stays that are purchased through Ultimate Rewards. But to me, it's like, where are you gonna stay at a hotel that's gonna be $50 a year? Like, that's nowhere, right? But if you're going to stay at a hotel for a couple nights, it could be $300, could be $500, and a $50 little discount I don't think does a whole lot. I think if you're making your decision on which card to get, whether it's Preferred or the Reserve, I wouldn't think about it directly based off of the annual fee. I would think about more the value you can get in the long term out of your Ultimate Rewards points and whether or not you're actually gonna book any flights through the Chase travel portal. And if the answer is yes, you are going to do that, I would say the Chase Sapphire Reserve is probably your best bet. But honestly, you can't go wrong with either, especially if you have the Preferred alongside your other two cards in the Chase Trifecta to maximize your earning capacity across all spending categories. Now, the other comparison is, of course, the Chase Sapphire Reserve to the AMEX Platinum. That's like the ultimate question now, right? I would just say the answer boils down to how crowded do you want your airport lounge to be? And I don't even really mean that as a joke. If you want to have a credit card that everybody else has right now, which is the AMEX Platinum, I would say that, go ahead and get the AMEX Platinum. Not making it sound bad, okay? The AMEX Platinum is a great travel rewards credit card, and the Chase Sapphire Reserve is also a great travel rewards credit card, both of which offer great benefits. They're just a little bit different. I would say from my perspective right now, from where I'm sitting, I think that because of how popular the AMEX Platinum is and the actual devaluations AMEX has done recently with certain benefits, whether it's access to the lounge, sign-up bonuses, things like that, Amex is on top. I think it's pretty clear to say that if you just Google credit card on YouTube or on Google, the Amex Platinum is gonna be the top credit card, okay? But if you look up the Chase Sapphire Reserve, it's definitely a lot more quiet. And I would say that's where the opportunity arises for Chase to really step up its game and maintain its competitiveness in the space that it operates in. I think an important consideration is what you think this card is going to be in the near future or in a few years from now. Because especially if you don't plan on canceling this card in the near future or even in a few years, it's like, where is this card going to be in a few years? But I would say the difference between the two is really going to be the qualitative factors in terms of the ease of use of the points and the different benefits that you might use, not so much the quantitative factors like the actual valuation of the points and the transfer partners, because frankly, the transfer partners are largely the same. And while Chase has a few less transfer partners, the ones that Amex is offering might not be ones that you're going to use anyway. And I would say that simplicity-wise, Chase definitely wins in that category because the Amex Platinum is kind of like opening the Costco catalog of different things that you can have rewards for or get cash back on and different offers and such. Whereas the Chase Sapphire Reserve, I think, has a shorter list of benefits. It's a little bit easier to use. We talked about the $300 annual travel credit, which covers everything from breathing to walking to taking a flight. And then the use of Chase Ultimate Rewards, which has a higher valuation for Chase points than actually using Amex points on Amex's website, which that's just a totally horrible thing. You should never use your Amex points for Amex travel because the website doesn't offer really good prices. You should instead transfer those Amex points to its partners to get good value. Now, all of this can change, but as of the making of this video, I would say that's my stance on it. And I think that the Chase Sapphire Reserve is a great offering that I'm pretty excited to continue getting good value out of. The next step, of course, now that I have the sign-up bonus and all this other stuff, is to give you guys an analysis on the best ways to utilize those Chase Ultimate Rewards points aside from the domestic flights video that I already made. I do think it's exciting that you can utilize points for much more than a 1.5 cent per point valuation. It's just a simple fact that most people don't know how to do that, or they're not aware that that option actually exists, or maybe it's too much work, or whatever the case might be, but I'm here to show you guys that it's really not that hard, and hopefully you guys can utilize that valuable information to book really great flights and travel to places that you never thought you could afford to travel to, you know, in first class and whatever the case might be. As always, appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.